So we're gonna be talking about the movie slash book The Hate You Give. My name is Joseph.
Name is Ricardio.
My name is Dayton.
My name is Valerie.
All right. So I guess we can start off with the shooting scene at the beginning. What do you guys think about that?
Well, for me, I think the shooting scene. I mean, it was okay because the way if it went through was like how you expected it in the book, was because Khalil reached in to grab a comb, and well, the cop reacted, and he shot him. Yeah, what do you think?
For me, I didn't really like it as much because the main reason was because like it showed Khalil, while in the book it didn't really mention or anything that him grabbing the cone during the incident when it happened when he got shot. It just showed him saying how his started doing, and then he just got shot like that. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with that because like it didn't really stick too much of the details in the book, so like it didn't really make it as good as the book portrayed it to be, and it like most of the details are kind of off, and I think it was just for plot.
All right. So what do you guys think about the interrogation scenes that came like shortly after that shooting scene, where the cops were interrogating Star about what happened that night?
Well, for me, it's on the night of the shooting, the interrogation wasn't really mainly on why the cop they weren't asking questions on the cop. It was just on Khalil, on if he was a drug dealer and stuff like that. So they were asking Star about what Khalil did, and like they're trying to find a way to make it seem like it's his fault that he got shot.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about that scene.
What do you think?
Okay. Mainly I think I did like it for like a while because at first it did like how it really should be. Like right after the incident, you go like to a crime scene or something, go to interrogate right afterwards, and they were asking like some correct questions, but like they started asking like about Khalil like right afterwards.
Yeah, I think most of it was based on like Khalil's life, whether or not like it was right for him to die, and it's more of like an excuse for the cop to like just like not face most of the consequences or heavy consequences for them.
Yeah, for me, just personally, I like the book version better of the interrogation they did on Star, just because I felt like there's more emotion than the actor showed during the total investigation, and like kind of went deeper, or like in the movie it showed like what 1 or 2 minutes. In the book it was like 3 pages of just the interrogation. But yeah, what do you guys think about the first racist comments that Haley, Star's friend, said about pretending that the basketball the basketball was a chicken? Fried chicken? Like, do you guys think that was racist, or do you guys think more like that was kind of playing a joke?
I mean, I think it could have been both. Because Haley, well, the way Haley acts, I'm pretty sure is how she was raised, and that's why she thought of it as a joke. But I mean, yeah, it was like racist for Star, but not for Haley because the way she was raised and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, the way it was meant, like mainly it looks like if she was just like she didn't like. How do I say this?
She didn't really mean it.
She didn't really mean it in a way that sounded racist, but it just came off like the way to Star.
Mainly. Yeah, like the way Star interpreted it, it was more like a racist joke, but the way that she confronted Haley about it, it was more like Haley misunderstood it.
Yeah. And if you guys like, if somebody were to say that right now, like during at school, would you guys say that it was a joke or like racist? What do you guys think?
I think it would be depending on like the way the person says it, like their tone and how they say it, and like the timing. So like I think it would depend on like those circumstances or conditions.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. It would depend on the circumstances most of the time.
Alright. So when Haley and Maya eventually confront Haley about it. Oh well, when Star and Maya, confront Haley about her saying and being racist, and Haley reacts by saying, "Well, you guys are just overreacting," or something strongly. Do you think she was just being self-centered and arrogant, or do you think that she honestly didn't realize what her actions were doing?
I think it goes back to what I said earlier about her just being the way she was raised. She thought of it as a joke, but for both of them, especially the joke about Maya for her eating her dog or whatever, that it sounded racist to her, and then the fried chicken one for Star sounded racist to her. because Miles hasn't seen the way that people have seen from their perspectives, so that's why he would see it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also agree with Arcade.
Alright, so Maverick Star's dad eventually says that because there's so many gang members, because Khalil and so many other kids become gang members, it's because of the lack of opportunities that arrive to Garden Heights. Do you think that's accurate to today, right now in society as it is?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate because like if you don't have opportunities, you're gonna have to do whatever you have to do to like get what you need. And like especially in Khalil's case because um his mom was in debt and like he had no money to support his family and like he wasn't done with school yet first. And second, like there's not a lot of opportunities, especially in a community like Garden Heights, so he had to do what he had to do to support his family.
Yeah, well, especially in that case, well, he had to do something because either he wouldn't be able to eat anything. Because when he was working at Maverick Store, like he had to choose between either buying food or paying or having heat.
Yeah, this is coming from experience from my stepbrother,
Mhm.
from because he lives in Las Vegas, so he would come sometimes to visit. But the thing is that when we would go over there, his neighborhood was like how Garden Heights is described,
Yeah.
and of course he was a ganger too because
Yeah.
like there was really nothing else for him to do.
Yeah, I get it. And so, because because Khalil was a gang member, do you think it was right for the cop, like disregarding everything else, right? Because the cop 115 shot and killed him, and because he was a gang member, does that justify his death?
I don't think it justifies it at all because you can be a ganger but have one of the best personalities.
Yeah, well, you can go.
Oh, in all technicality, like Khalil wasn't really a gang member. He was more like just associated with them in some way because he had to pay his mom's debt off. So like, but killing him, like I think, it wasn't just because his life, like the way he lived it was for good intentions. Like he didn't do anything like really wrongful.
Yeah, I also agree with that because personally, from my experience with my uncle who was a gang member, like he has one of the nicest personalities that I've met, and he hasn't really done anything that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
He does some dumb things, I would say.
Yeah.
But nothing to get too serious.
And do you think, like in society, if something like that were to happen, how do you think everybody would do you think people would react like Haley said, that because he was a gang member and because he was probably, like as Haley says, she was probably selling drugs out there, do you think they would react like how Star did?
Well, there would be some people that would react in different ways since no one knows how to act when there's someone that's died and it's reported heavily on the news most of the time.
Yeah.
So there would be many different opinions, topics, and people talking about it at the time.
Issue most of the time when the family members find out, they like to isolate themselves. They don't like to go outside. So like how Star didn't want to speak out at first about this. Yeah, because a lot of people who are close to the people who died, they don't like to go out. They like to like keep themselves in.
And so this whole time throughout the book, right, we see how Star is kind of like iffy with her boyfriend, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so, do you think it's fair to him or do you think it's justified that Star isn't too forward with him because of her community or because of her past or with family and friends with that?
I feel like she does have a point with that, but at the like one point, like they are in a relationship with together. Like there should be trust right there, especially like the way that Chris wanted it. Like he felt like he was being left out. But I think it does take a lot of courage for Star because she's still figuring out like her identity and the way that she should act between her communities that she's involved in.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Valerie on this because Chris wanted to know more about Star, and since Star was only showing him like a part of her that she probably started getting into, for people can like her, or like not stereotypical her as a gang member, or like living in the hood and stuff. That's why he wanted to learn more, so he can learn about her more, and her like how she actually acts around people.
And throughout this whole time, Star is kind of like Two Face, but like not in a bad sense. But where one of her faces are Garden Heights and the rest is Williamson, right? Do you think that applies to reality as it is? Or like, do we think are we multi-face, like just in general, or is that just fictional?
In a way, most of everyone is in some sort of way. Like at school, people change. They talk in different ways to the teachers. Then they switch up with their friends, and when they go home, they also switch when they're talking to their parents. But when they're with their siblings, I think that feels like more natural way
Yeah.
of talking.
Yeah, because I think that when you're with your friends, you act more like yourself, and then when you're with family, you act more polite. You act more like what's the word I'm looking for? Social. Or like yeah.
Yeah, I get you. All right, and so this whole time, right, the community is outraged, and we get to the riot scenes. Do you guys agree about people rioting, would you guys riot or protest? Like, which one do you think would get the message out there the strongest?
I understand how people want to riot because, like, just simple speaking isn't really gonna do anything because some people could just disregard your words. But like, I think that's too extreme and too violent. So I think protesting would be better because it's like not non-violent protest actually. So that like, like you're just asking for like a peaceful answer.
Yeah, because when you riot, you're basically telling the news that what happened is like because from what happened from that is leading to this, so maybe we shouldn't we shouldn't do this, or maybe we should take this away.
And so, do you think it's justice for the community? Because this is not only impacting Khalil's family, right? Because when we find out that the officer is not going to get indicted, right, this is not only affecting the family, but it's also affecting community. Because as we know, as we read, Garden Height is a community, and they're all know each other as family, right? So, do you think it's fair to the community that another injustice goes on?
I don't think it's fair because most of it was like just like conveyed as like racial injustice. So I think it's mostly like if you go against like one of them, you go against all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and mainly because like there could have been at least some sort of verdict that could have been reached, like saying like he can just like temporarily leave like from that area for a while, and so he can like go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
In a way.
And do you think do you agree with it? Because, right, you like Miss Martinez said, you can't prove racism. So then, would that verdict technically be correct, or do you still believe there's more and that the people and the jury were just ignoring it?
I feel like what Star did testify, like she didn't give a lot of details because of how nervous she was, but maybe if she did include like all of the details that she was thinking, then maybe like he would have gotten some form of punishment. But because like she made it seem like it was more of like a racial problem, he got off because like you said, you can't prove racism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, adding on to what you said, when like the certain details is like when the officer was 115 was pointing the gun right at her,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't mention that to police until like the interview with who was it
And
again?
I think it was her uncle.
No,
Yeah.
she told her uncle first.
She told her
and
uncle
then,
first, and then she mentioned it on
In
the
the interview,
interview.
And do you think there's just that sort of racist mindset in all cops? Because, like we say, with like the movie showed us, when Star asked her uncle, "Are you more likely to shoot a white guy than you are to shoot a black guy?" Her uncle responded, "Like I would be more likely to shoot a black guy, right? If I feel threatened." Do you think that mindset is in all cops, or is it just like an unspoken kind of thing?
I think that mindset is set on everyone, because the way we see the internet now, we see a lot more stereotypical things, or people write more
Stereotypical.
stereotypical things about other people.
Yeah.
And back then, the white people had the mindset of black people being scary, or them being threatening to others.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm pretty sure that white people were that's why 115 had wanted to shoot him, because he was scared.
Yeah.
What he might do.
I also think that like if a cop were to shoot like a black person, they wouldn't get a lot of outrage because of that stereotypical mindset that people have towards black people. But if you were to shoot a white person, like it would be a whole different story because the white people don't have that stereotype that they're dangerous. Or something like that.
Yeah, and because I was reading up on this where it said one of my teachers, Mr. Trujillo, he said if there was the same amount of cops as there were in South Central and Southeast, up in Beverly Hills, that the crime rate would be equal to here. And in the movie, we constantly see a bunch of cops patrolling the neighborhood, patrolling the cities around it. So do you think that's right? Because
I don't honestly think it's right for you to put more cops in a certain place or a certain community because of the way that it looks. Because some people, there might be like that few percentage of people within the community that might do something bad. And then there's that the rest of the percentage that doesn't do anything. But then like them coming out, the cops think of them as something they might be doing something else. While like in Beverly Hills, there's like they really won't think of anything at all.
And so we constantly see the racism, like even if it's unspoken, right? We see the racism in this movie towards black people, towards people of color, and in society we see it all the time. Even sometimes it's even outspoken. Do you think we should continue to speak out against this racism? Do you think we should be scared and speak out against racist people and racist comments? Or should we just be brave and speak out no matter what?
I feel like it's easier to speak out because like if you it's doing something, and doing something is better than doing nothing. That way, like you're like a step closer to solving the problem.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
And so at the end of this movie, right, we see that Star kind of feels that she still has a burden on her. Like even if it, like you could see it, you could feel it, that there's still a burden on her, that she could have done more to help her friend Khalil. Do you think she could have done more?
Yeah, she could have done way more because most of the time she wasn't really speaking out about anything. She did start like that one Tumblr page, but I don't think it was enough. I think it'd be more powerful if the witness were to step out in public and actually speak out about it, and like the peaceful protest instead of rioting.
I have to agree with Valerie on this because Star, she hit herself first. Instead, she could have gone out and confronted about what happened, instead of people just starting going around questioning about, we don't know who the witness is and she's hiding herself and stuff like that. And she's scared.
Yeah, I agree with both of them because had she spoken out, maybe the verdict could have been different.
Yeah.
Khalil could have had some justice, like in 115's case.
Do you guys think it's justified for her to be scared?
Yeah, it is. It is
yeah,
justified.
it justifies.
Only because, well, like in that time where black people were seen as, well, their skin color, how they just said, their skin color was seen as a weapon. So yeah, Star was afraid, and then also she was getting threatened to speak out to the jury by even her own community people, King himself.
Yeah, like King and his drug dealers.
Yeah.
And also during the scene where she was being pointed at the gun.
Yeah.
She was probably afraid of most of the police, so she didn't really trust most of them, except maybe her Uncle Carlos.
Well, yeah, I feel like her being afraid was justified because like she just saw her friend die, and I think that would be hard to speak out in those conditions because I feel like she would have been like grieving more.
Yeah.
About like that situation, like what they said.
And so we see the racism towards the community, where Star's dad is overly excessive, right? The cops are overly excessive towards Star's dad. And at one point, Star's youngest little brother, Shikani, grabs Maverick's gun and points it at King and his drug dealers. And the cops were ready to shoot, but instead Star got in front. Do you guys think if it wasn't for Star, would the cops have shot at the 8-year-old black kid?
They probably would because, like, in the mindset of a cop, like, he's posing a threat. Like, even though he's a kid, he's still posing a threat to them, like, and a danger to, like, the people around him, too. So they probably would have shot him.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, too, because yeah, black kids back then, they were seen as, yeah, how he said, as weapons, and the fact that he was holding a gun, it scared the cops even more.
Mhm.
And all they need to see is his finger moving a little bit close to the trigger, and they would have shot.
And so in society, we constantly see how people of color are being downgraded. They think people who are white, people who think of us as, you know, kind of like unintelligent beings or people that don't know what we're talking about. Do you guys believe that that's reflected in the movie too?
Well, I think um, basically like the way the community is portrayed in the Hate You Give, I feel like it's the same as other communities because there's a lot of communities that have the same circumstances, same kind of people, and like the same kind of opportunities that like that Garden Heights does, and like it does reflect some communities like that.
Yeah. And I just want to say that it is that the way Garden Heights is being portrayed in the movie, we gotta remember that that's actually Garden Heights that we live in, that we go by every day to downtown LA. That's the same city that's being portrayed in this movie. That's in real life, and that of if it's in real life, then I think it just makes sense that we're being downgraded in this movie as well. But I feel like this being downgraded in the movie is making it seem more like okay in a sense. But yeah, that's just me. But yeah. And so I guess finally, at the end of the day, right, we see the constant racism. It points out time and time again. We've seen Star pointed out time and time again when it comes to the shootings all across this country against people of color by cops, or not even by cops sometimes. Do you guys think this will continue on, like as we grow up? Do you guys think this will continue on, or do you guys think that this prejudice over us people of colors will stop?
I mean, it can't change, but but there needs to be like people being accepting of the past. But
Mhm.
there aren't that many people that can do that.
Mhm.
They will hold on and still like bring that up, even like during times where they're trying to change it.
Mhm.
But it will always be bring it back up.
Yeah, the prejudice would always stay there because they're their thoughts. They're like pretty much like concepts of like things like that, and things could change and like things could probably get a little better, but it still won't completely go.
Alright, thank you guys, and so that's the end.